Plastic cash itself is a convenient mode of transaction, but now it comes with facilities that make it even better. The autopay facility in credit cards can help keep track of the various due dates of your regular utility bills. It can save you from late payment penalties and at the same time get you reward points and other credit card benefits. Then there is the option of credit card EMIs. Paying a credit card bill in EMIs essentially means converting the credit card dues into a loan and paying the same in installments. In this video, experts Rishi Mehra, CEO Wishfin.com and Vishal Dhawan, founder and CEO Plan Ahead Wealth Advisors, give their insights on spending via credit cards and share tips for spenders to avoid debt cycles. These days, particularly, a lot of borrowers are finding themselves trapped for cash. So, due to COVID's impact on finances, many have felt this shortage. In such a situation, should one use their credit card to pay even monthly utility bills like rent, electricity, etc.?
Yes, using credit cards and to pay utility bills, it's great. But to utilize the credit period only till the time the credit period is amount to you is that you can help and can win reward points for even spending on the credit card. But if you pay everything and anything on credit card and you can't pay the full amount on the date of the payment, then it's actually adding to your interest value. So it does not give you rewards, but basically it takes down and gets into a very difficult debt cycle, which will not be able to recover for the next 2-3 years. The rough data says about there are 86,000 crores of credit card debt that is happening at this current period of time. And there is another data that says about 17 to 18% of people revolve credit across from credit card users at this period of time. Now, that means that a large part of these consumers are taking this debt and utilizing this money for a short-term need, and then they're not able to pay the full amount across on that, and then paying a high interest rate of about 36 to 40%, which is not advisable for a customer point of view. Credit cards is a great instrument and gets you rewards, gets you free air travel if you've used it, for something which you do regularly. For an example, you should opt for a credit card which gives you something that you use as a affinity a day-to-day basis. For example, if you love to shop in a particular segment, you should take that credit card for that company. You travel by a particular airline, you should take that credit card because that reward points can be used, and from spending on that credit card, you will get a value out of it. But using credit card beyond paying 100% is not a great instrument. So that's the first part of it. Paying 100% is a great instrument, and by spending, if you can have 2 or 3% of your reward points, that becomes a great from a customer's point of view.
How much truth does accumulating rewards to reap great benefits hold? Should one be spending more just to avail these reward points, and because these rewards will actually get you something else in the future, or is that also like a gray area?
Reward points can be, good benefits, provided you are very, very disciplined with repaying your credit card outstandings on time and fully. And I think a good behavior as far as your credit history is concerned always helps you when you're going out to take other loans as well. I think for a lot of young people, they will need money as they go out to borrow in the form of, say, a housing loan. At that point, if you've built a good, track record of paying back on time, paying back fully, etc., it gives lenders so much more confidence in giving out money to you. And also the rate of interest that you might get charged might be lower because now banks actually give you loans basis your credit score. And therefore, if you have a better credit history, you'll get a loan at a lower rate. And when you're borrowing large chunks of money, especially when you buy houses, for example, this might be very, very useful. So I think it's a good thing to have. But you have to be careful that you don't overspend because of the reward. And you forget the fact that I have only so much propensity to spend because all this money has to get paid back.
Also, in this highly digital world, online shopping has increased. So could you shed some light on some watch outs while opting for the credit card EMI option, especially when one is looking to make big purchases?
See, the EMI options are both available from a credit card user by doing offline also and online also. One needs to remember that you can convert into paying 12, 24, 6 EMIs. If you do not have the money right now, you can do that. But from a data statistics point of view, having too many EMIs in a month can lead you to another debt cycle. For example, you've done 4 purchases in the last 6 months and you're all converted it. So you would have an EMI on the 12th, you would have an EMI on 16th, you would have an EMI on 21st, you would have an EMI on 27th. Remembering those EMIs and keeping that money in your account and paying credit card, it is impossible to get into that, and then you fall into a debt cycle or you would have defaults. So the best thing is that if you can just maintain only 1 or 2 EMIs on card, that's the best thing. But we've seen across, whenever people do it more than 4, they get into a debt cycle or a credit card, higher rate of interest loans, etc. What you have to also remember is the credit card customers or the customer for himself. There are 2 things: that whether his ability to pay, whether he's just forgotten to pay. So ability to pay even can happen from a large side of a customer, but there are times where you miss out, and the miss out is an actual disaster for a customer. You even have the cash and paying, getting an interest of about 3-4% when you're saving an account, and then actually paying a 40% on a credit card. This mismanagement happens a lot.
So credit cards are usually associated with the purchase of luxury items, but many, and especially now because of crises like COVID, people have been using them to fund basic expenses too. So, do you think a personal loan is a better form of debt?
It is definitely better because it's cheaper, and it also creates a commitment for you to pay back a certain amount every month, which tends to make people much more disciplined with the debt that they have. Ideally, what you want to do though is that when you're taking on personal loan debt as well, do it because you don't have any other assets that you can give as security. Because it's an unsecured loan, just like a credit card, and therefore will be more expensive than a secured loan. Last but not the least, I think it's very, very important when you're doing a personal loan that you try to take it for a shorter period rather than a longer period. There is a tendency to, ask for the longest period of the loan because your EMI becomes smaller. And what we find is that the longer the loan is, obviously the more the interest that you'll end up paying, because for each of these products, you're paying interest on an annual basis. And therefore, our suggestion is that try to take a short period loan. Obviously, you should be able to afford the EMI. If you can't afford it, it is going to be a problem. But if it means that you have to cut your spending so that this becomes affordable, do that. And also keep in mind, some other costs. There will be probably processing fee. There will be, a prepayment charge. All of these things need to be looked at together when you're taking a personal loan, and not just the rate of interest.
In sum, be mindful of the percentage of your credit card spending limit you are using in a month. Make sure you have enough in your bank account, especially when the due dates are nearing. Take the EMI option only if you know you will be able to make the payments on time. Else, a missed payment on credit card dues will also affect your credit score. Make sure you have a spending limit left on the credit card to be able to avail or convert the desired bill amount on EMIs. Don't forget to check out our last 2 videos on credit cards where we decoded the same for millennials and gave you best practices. That's all from us for now. Stay tuned for more financial planning tips and stay safe.